The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Simply go to stewart.com/radio. That's where you can see this show on the YouTube channel and also hear past shows. That's right, at stewart.com/radio. We're glad you joined us today. We're going to talk, as always, about real estate. In addition, we're going to also talk to someone that has a very worthy cause, helping Houston firefighters right here in the fourth largest city in the United States, soon to be the third, they're saying. But first, let's talk real estate with Richard Guderyon with Compass Real Estate. Hey, Richard, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Bill. Appreciate it.
Your company is Compass Real Estate. Now, we've heard especially a lot about Compass here in the last year, but in case someone's tuning in from afar or wherever, let's tell people about your company.
Well, our company is about 4 years new now here in Houston area. We came on strong in the market and not look back. We went from being zero in our industry to the number one broker in Houston within a matter of 3 years.
That's pretty quick. I mean,
pretty
that's
remarkable.
Like real remarkable and real quick. How do you think that happened, by the way?
You know, we've been able to acquire some of the best agents across the city of Houston. They've seen the power in what Compass is bringing to the table. They know what the tools are, the technology, the support that they're getting on a day-to-day basis, and we've acquired just some outstanding real estate agents throughout the city.
And as far as offices, you have several offices around the city. Let's tell people about the office where you are based at as the sales manager.
So I'm the manager at Memorial, and I've been there for about 1 year and 7 months now. We have, I actually looked up the numbers today, I knew we were coming on the show, and I thought, let's see, how we stack up. Currently, we have 20% of the market in the Memorial area at Compass alone, which is our next competitor of the year to date is at 11%. So we've come on really strong. It's because the agents, the market knowledge our agents have helped us excel tremendously.
When I think, and we were talking a little bit before the show, I had a home out in that area. And when I think of appreciation, yes, all the home prices almost have gone up all over the city. However, in that area where your office is, Beltway 8 and Memorial, the Rummel Creek School District area, and others have gone up a whole lot. In addition, it makes me think it's a little bit like the Heights, where values have gone up in a tremendous way. Tell us about the appreciation out there, and specifically right there where your office is, because that's a very dynamic area and just growing leaps and bounds.
Yeah, so we, as I looked at the numbers again, and we went up almost 18% to 25% in different pockets of the Memorial area in value alone over the last year. And that's just a remarkable increase in value in a short period of time. Obviously, we're well located to Beltway 8. There's a lot of industry going out towards the medical corridor, the new medical corridor going towards Katy. And I think we house a lot of people in the profession.
As far as, and then the other thing we're hearing here recently, things are changing in the marketplace. They're different today than they were even 3 months ago, and certainly a year ago. Tell us about what you're seeing as far as that particular trend goes, where the interest rates are going up. What's happening for buyers and sellers in your area?
Last year was a crazy market. I say crazy. It was just unusual in that, you put a house on the market, whether it be $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, or, sub $1 million, and you're getting multiple offers, 2-3 days on the market. What you're going to see now is a little bit of a switch on that, in where you're not going to see those homes flying off the market as much as you were in years past, only because, not only because we've got higher interest rates, the economy is not doing as well as everybody hoped to, but I'm going to tell you, there's still buyers out there, there's still sellers out there that are, putting their houses on the market, taking advantage of still a hot market in price point. But they're going to have to come to the expectation, the realization that they're not going to sell it in 1 and 2 days. It's going to be more of a 2-3 month period of time. So the expectation needs to be changed a little bit.
When we think about the buyers, again, let's take your area. Where are they coming from? Maybe you oversee, I would think, all the transactions in your office. When you see maybe 10 transactions of the last 10, how many of them were outside of Houston or even outside of Texas?
Well, I actually am the managing director for Compass Relocation, as a matter of fact, for all of Texas. And so I see a lot of incoming from California has been huge. We're seeing a lot of influx into our market in those relocation buyers. So in Memorial specifically, I'd be stabbing at the dark, but as far as Houston alone, we're seeing a huge influx of people coming into our market because we're still affordable. Compared to our competitors out there in different states.
You mentioned California. We've mentioned that a lot on this show, but where else are you seeing people coming from?
You'll see them, absolutely. You'll see them coming in from New York, Chicago, just these bigger states that they have a higher cost of living, and Houston's affordable.
If you hear from someone that's moved from, let's forget California just for a second, but let's say they came from the Northeast, even Chicago, after they get here, and maybe you hear this through the agents, but after they get here, after they buy property, what do they say about Houston? Do you hear any comments about, I didn't know it was going to be this hot, this dry, this exciting, great restaurants? What kind of feedback do you hear from people that actually move here from those northern regions?
They like the change because there's so much to do here in Houston. I used to live up in the Northwest, and so, there was limited things that you could do. And when the snow hit and it got really cold down here, you still have the opportunity to golf, go to baseball games, go to football games, and enjoy the weather outside. Go down to the beach and enjoy, our Galveston coastline. So they're enjoying it because they like the, even though it gets hot, that's what air conditioning is for, right? But they learn to adapt to it pretty quickly.
And where are you from?
I'm from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin.
I used to go to Wisconsin quite a bit. Several decades ago. I've always enjoyed Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
People were friendly, beautiful, and I didn't really mind the snow when I was up there.
Yeah. Well, how long ago was that?
It's been 2 decades, let's say, maybe longer.
You were younger and your blood was probably a little bit thicker, so you didn't get as cold as quickly.
Definitely younger, no doubt about that. So here we are. As far as what you see ahead, when you think and have your team meetings with the Compass management and with your team right there, the realtors that are on the ground in the Memorial area, what are some of the things you're preparing for or you see in terms of trends or how the business is going to play out here? I don't know, for the end of the year. We're past the halfway mark, if you can believe that. That's unbelievable.
Well, I see things. I want to say normalizing in a market that's not flying off the shelves like it had been in the last year and a half or so. So I just see it being more normalized, where people are just going to again have to lower their expectations as to how long it's going to take for them to sell their house. The beauty of it is, if you look at what people were doing with 6-7 months ago, they're paying $30,000, $40,000, $75,000 over asking price just to get that property. Now what they're going to see is they're going to see a higher interest rate. But say on an $800,000 house, your interest rate is, let's say it's at 6% or 6.5%, where it was 3% in a few months back, or 3.5%. You're still saving money although you're paying a little bit more in interest over, let's say, 5 years, because you can refinance hopefully down in 5 years' time. But let's say you put $30,000, $40,000 above asking price. That's a lot, but the interest, the amortization on that is only about an $8,000 difference in what you're going to be paying in interest in those 5 years as what you were, putting $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 above asking price. You're making out better right now. It's a competitive market to that extent that there's still a lot of buyers out there, but there's going to be those pockets where they're going to take a little bit longer.
As far as you're in, really there's several centers of the Houston universe, and right there, Beltway 8 and Memorial, Interstate 10, that's one of them. So as far as the reach of your office, if you were heading west, how far west does your agent service?
We also service the energy corridor, which is a totally different price point. I think the average price point over there is about 450,000 to 475,000, which is a lot different than Memorial, which is 1.2 million dollars is kind of the average over in the Memorial area. That's days on market over there is definitely a lot shorter right now because of the price point. The hotness index shows it to be about 2.3 months, which what that means is that if not another home goes on the market for the next month or for 2.3 months, the whole inventory will be gone.
And what about going further west? Do you service say Fulshire?
Absolutely.
And
so
beyond? That's a pretty hot area.
Yeah,
too.
we have 5 offices in Houston. We have Katy, which obviously services the Fulshire in the Katy area. We have the Woodlands, and that takes care of the total Northwest. And then we've got our Westheimer office, which is kind of our main hub, which is down in the Inner Loop, actually right down the road here on
looking
Westheimer.
At the window. Right
yeah,
at
you
it,
probably
right.
see it. And then we've got our Heights office as well. So we've got 5 offices to service our clients around the city of Houston.
And Richard, of all the things you could be doing, you're in the real estate profession. How is it that you are in the real estate profession, and why do you love it so much?
I've been doing this now 22 years. It's been a long, long time. I sold with my wife for 10 years. She actually got me in the business years ago, and she actually fired me 4 months after I joined her, to tell you the truth, because I was used to running my business at the time, and I came in and tried to run her business. That didn't go over too well. So I learned how to say yes, dear, very quickly, and we worked things out, and we became a strong team for 10 years, and then I got asked to be a manager for one of our competing brokerage. I love the opportunity to help my agents. I could go back into selling, but I really like the agents that I have. I mean, I don't have any prima donnas, which is something of beauty. Everybody works well together. They share with each other ideas. It's just a really collaborative, fun environment to be in.
We're talking with Richard Guderyon, the sales manager of Compass, right there in the Memorial area here in Houston, Texas. Richard, let's tell people how they can reach you and your company.
Just give me a shout. My phone's always on, 281-217-0766. And obviously, I don't sell anymore, but if you have real estate need, I'll get you connected with somebody who's an expert with it in my office. Or you can email me at richard.guderyon, Guderyon, at compass.com.
Or call at 281-217-0766. Thanks for being on the show, Richard.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Let's welcome Elizabeth Stein. She is with the Houston Professional Firefighters Association. And my friend Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
When we think about important people that help serve policemen, military, certainly firefighters, but let's tell people about the organization you represent.
5 years. Well, the charitable foundation has been around, but this will be our 5th year for fundraising. And we are going to have a blowout celebration on October 29th back at the Royal Sonesta. So we hope everybody will come. We have been able to do some amazing purchases over the 4 years. And since I talked to you last, I think was maybe early April, we have purchased some expensive equipment that will serve the state of Texas as well as our community, which are from the Wildland Tactical Division. So we now are meeting once a month now that we are actively fundraising and have money to spend, and we will sit on a committee and we will look at requests, which we refer to as our wish list, and their wish list. And so we go over equipment and we make sure that we're purchasing every month. So everyone's dollars are getting to work, and we're trying our very best to stay ahead and be good stewards of everybody's donations. So the new purchase as of a couple of months ago, which are these UTVs with trailers, we spent over $145,000. And these are used by firefighters who cannot get the large equipment into areas. So if there's a brush fire, or there is an area around a bayou or in a park or any other place, this allows them to get in with tanks on these UTVs and firefight and get people out.
Well, first of all, one of the things, are they buying any Dalmatians? I mean, that seems like a real key part to firefighting is having a spotted dog.
I know. I
Is
know.
that still a thing, or
It
am
is a
I
thing.
dating
It
myself?
is a thing. I think that there's some guidelines about animals at fire stations that I'm
No
not.
poodles?
Yeah, I'm not particularly privy to all of that. But our first year, we did have a rescue Dalmatian that was in our auction, and it's a beautiful dog, and we hope to have another one. We do lend ourselves in the direction of rescue animals when we try to get them
Absolutely.
involved. So it hasn't been a part. We haven't had a Dalmatian since. We're going to find one for you.
Well, there you go. And let me know where it arrives. I'll go visit. But also, one of the things, as you mentioned, equipment needs. First of all, the average person would think, well, the firefighters have everything they need. They get tax dollars. They have fire engines. They have hoses. They have equipment, protective gear, and all that. So how is it that the firefighters that do such important work here in Houston and elsewhere, how is it that there's other equipment needs that you're helping them with, your organization?
I think most of us are aware that our budget, City of Houston budget, and a specific,
Only so much.
There's only so much, and there are many citizens that recognize that there are things that they can do, there are ways that they can help, and this is the way that they can help. We purchase things as simple as fire hoses that are used in heavy equipment fires. We purchase so many chainsaws. I can't even keep the chainsaws straight anymore. But things happen to chainsaws, and there are areas of town where people cannot get into the homes unless they have a chainsaw. So it's every little thing is important. Not everything is even $300, but you do appeal to the different stations, and they are very good now at asking, sourcing, pricing, and then it comes before our committee, and we make sure we keep spending. As long as you keep giving, we will keep spending.
So there's always extra needs, and that's
Yes.
not to mention that we're in a current high inflation
Yes.
zone that we've not been in for decades. So they have needs.
They do.
And not only that, one of the things I think about, and I mentioned this to you before, firefighters and even policemen, all the things that they wear. First of all, they're in a hot environment if they're fighting a fire, but let alone here in Houston, just wearing that for no other reason than to
Yes.
just stand in it. It's
Yes.
got to be extra. The individual that is a firefighter is not only brave, but also must have a certain kind of endurance to be able to wear the equipment and then have the training to go in and fight the fire. God bless them. If there's any firefighters listening, we appreciate you 1,000-fold, right, Elizabeth?
We appreciate you very much. And they're short-staffed. We're short-staffed right now. Of course, we're very familiar with what's going on in terms of staffing across our city. So it's something they deal with, and they just keep dealing with it. They show up and they do their jobs, and we'll just have to keep working through that. But to your point about the weight, we this past year purchased some very expensive Riot Medic vest, and they brought these into training, and I couldn't lift the vest. I mean, I'm not, that's slight, but I couldn't lift the vest. So you find that they definitely have to be fit and prepared, and it is hot. And when I was here with you in April,
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say. Go
I
ahead,
brought
go ahead.
you last year. We brought back the firefighters calendar. It had been out for a few years for lots of different reasons, but today begins 5 days of tryouts for the firefighters, and this year we have 4 women trying out for the calendar. So we're super excited about that. Each day is booked. We have many more sign up. So it's super exciting. I came here instead of being at the tryouts.
Well, thank you so much for
You're
that.
so
we
welcome.
appreciate it.
You're so welcome. But I'll make some other tryouts. So watch for the calendar. It'll come out before October 29th.
It's pretty soon, really.
Very soon. And you can find a link to it on our website, as well as they will be at the Nutcracker Market this year. We have a booth, and we will be working those sales.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And also, there you are. There'll be women firefighters, men, the whole deal, right?
Their whole deal.
So that's going to be exciting.
Something for everyone.
But there's only 12 months. So is there one firefighter per month, or is there like a double up at any point here?
The typical thing is a firefighter per month. We often have one in the wings that, you pick that 13th person. But there's also a firefighter and a firefighter's child that is chosen for Father's Day. So quite the cute little tryout with, like last year, darling little boy. It doesn't have to be a boy. It can be a little girl. But they do line up to try out for Father's Day. So they need to do Mother's Day
absolutely.
as well.
We need to cover that. That's right. So if someone wants to help out, what are the things that people can do, whether right here in Houston or if they're listening on the internet somewhere else?
Sure.
What can people do to help your organization?
You can, at any time, go on to houstonsbravest.org, and it will show you the numerous things that the firefighters do, in addition to information about the gala that we're doing in October. But there are lists, there are ways to help each year. And then you can always call us at 713-223-9166. And as I had mentioned, each day we get things that are added to our wish list. And there is something on there that fits everyone's budget. And we encourage people to restrict their funds to equipment because it kind of gives you a sense of, I don't know, for me, it's pride in knowing that that money is going directly to a particular piece of equipment that they use to help us all is always rewarding.
And the website is houstonsbravest.org, right?
Correct.
So all the information is there. They can find out. Will they find out about the events too that you're talking about?
They will. They will. Now the calendar that is on the site right now is of course last year's calendar. This calendar will not come out for several months, but would still love to send you a calendar of all the very nice firefighters and son that were in last year's calendar. And it will give you the information about ticket purchases, table purchases, ways to do underwriting. It'll give you an opportunity to see who our big supporters are, because we have some supporters that have been with us for 5 years, and we're very, very honored to have them staying on board with us.
About, if you know, how many fire stations are in Houston?
There are 94 fire stations in Houston. There are not 94 fire stations open right now, operating. Some are under construction. Some have different things going on. So, and it's a moving number. It's not every day. So it's kind of, I would have to really check to be accurate. But 94 stations is what we've had. We used to have over 4,000 firefighters. We do not have 4,000 firefighters right now, but you never know. Come join us.
We need more is the answer,
we need
right?
more firefighters. Come join us.
Okay, once again, the website is?
houstonsbravest.org.
The phone number?
713-223-9166.
And a quick word on a different subject. I understand you just got back from Italy not that long ago. Let's tell people, as we talk about real estate here, I bet you saw some beautiful homes. Where were you exactly, and what did you see quickly?
We were everywhere. We were on the water, and we were everywhere from Naples to Palermo to up the coast and back. It was beautiful. There were lots of people. They were incredibly welcoming. Everybody spoke English for the most part, but I would recommend for people who are going, it's a busy time of year, and you need to be prepared to plan ahead for restaurants and reservations and transportation and that kind of thing.
And how was the food? You're reading my mind.
Amazing. The food was amazing.
There you go. I want to go next time. That sounds awesome. Elizabeth Stein, Houston Professional Firefighters Association. Once again, the website is?
houstonsbravest.org.
And thank you for being with us
Thanks
at such short notice.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
As we continue to talk real estate, we have Richard Luebeck. He is the broker owner of Red Lion Realty. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on, Bill.
Well, we thank Joyce Eisenberg for telling us about you, and we're glad you're here. I have to first ask, Red Lion Realty. I love that name. Let's tell people how you came up with the name as you named the company, right?
It did take a little while to come up with it, and then I actually ran across the idea while I was traveling in Europe.
Oh, really? Where in Europe, by the way?
I was in Scotland, which is just north of England, and we were out touring castles, and we went by a place that said Red Lion. I was like, gosh, when I get home, that is a great name.
It really is, and as you mentioned, castles and lions, I'm picturing shields and all sorts of swords and stuff like that. Meanwhile, back to real estate right here. So you are right here in Houston. You're in the Katy area. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We're in Katy, Texas.
Well, let's tell people about your company and what's going on in the area that you're serving.
Katie's actually an international area. We service people from all over the world. It's the energy corridor. And there's just a lot of movement in Katy, always has been, and it's still moving forward at breakneck speeds.
There's no doubt about that. I live as far west as you can in Houston, and if I threw a rock, I'm going to hit Katy. I'm that close at the end of my street. So I think it's a great area, and I think there's something extra special about being near Interstate 10 from a real estate standpoint and being able to do all the things we do in Houston.
Having the ease of access of I-10, West Park Tollway, 99, and then our award-winning Katy Schools has really been a driving force.
Give us a word. We haven't talked about the Katy School District. Why is it award-winning? And every once in a while, I talk to people. I don't know if it was in Sugar. Oh, well, we have everybody's got award-winning school districts. However, I think there is something special about Katy. Let's tell them what that is.
Well, if you look them up, Katy's typically in the top 10 when it comes to schools in Texas. Football, oh gosh, Katy High School football, people move here just to put their kids in that program. And we are known all over the country for that.
As far as the buyers and sellers these days, let's say in your area there in Katy, how are you advising? And things have shifted around a little bit, but let's first take the sellers. If you're going to, let's say, list my house, for example, how are you preparing the seller right now for the market conditions that we're in right now?
Well, we're in what I call BC, which is before COVID, so we're back to a more normal market. It's not flash sales where we put them on the market and they're gone in 24 to 48 hours. So it's really letting the sellers understand where it is today versus where it was a month or so ago.
And I think, and we see that hear this on this show all the time, the importance of pricing. Certainly the way things were maybe a couple months ago, 2-3 years ago, it would be true that it's always, you have to have the home priced properly in any market, right?
Correct. Buyers today are highly educated. You're not going to overprice a home and have somebody buy it from you. Unfortunately, the market doesn't work that way. It has to be priced correct straight out of the gate. Otherwise, the buyers just bypass it and time works against you, not for you.
So as far as the buyers right now, let's say someone is listening or they're interested in the Katy market right now, Katy area. Hey, Richard, I heard they have great schools. This would be a nice place for my family. How do you prepare the buyer? And I don't know what the price point would be, but let's say they want to spend, I don't know, $450,000. What could be had, if anything, for that to be in a good neighborhood over there?
The average house in Katy is probably hovering more around $500,000 today. And you're going to see around 2,600 square foot, 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2-car garage. And I would say that you're going to buy it right at market value. Some of the hyped up, over asking, multiple offers, that has tapered down. With that said, I would advise the buyer, don't wait, do it now. And the reason why I'm making that statement is because price values are still going to go up 9.9 to 10% is our forecast for this year out in our local area. However, on top of that, they are forecasting the rates to go up another 2% and be in the 8s by the end of the year. And every 1% of interest costs you 10% in buying power. So if you buy it today, you're going to have 30% more house than if you wait till next year.
So the word is buy now. If you're in the market,
Correct.
Buy now. Interest rates, you could always adjust them. If you're not paying cash, you can adjust them later down the road, refinance and things like that, right?
Correct. The people that I'm speaking with think that we're going to see rates come back down in the election year of 2024. So take advantage of the housing now and refi out once the rates do come back down.
So as far also, speaking of elections, you're running for, let's tell people what you're running for within the real estate world.
I'm running for the Houston Association Board of Realtors, Board of Directors, medium-sized firms.
So there are small, medium, and large firms. Are those the categories?
Yes, sir.
So in your role, if you get that position, what would you be doing there?
Trying to make a change in our industry. We have problems that need to be solved, and nobody's really addressing them. Everybody seems to keep doing what they're doing and not addressing the issues that are at hand out there today.
Well, one of the things I'm thinking of as far as transactions go, and as we're still, the market's brisk, but if we take it back a notch to a year when it was really, as the quote was, crazy, the amount of transactions have gone up. So you're just by virtue of numbers, all sorts of things must be happening, as they would be, and I think in any profession or in any buy and sell transaction. So numbers of everything is going to go up. Good behavior is going to go up, bad behavior, and all those things. So
Correct.
we're now at a point where I guess things, as we hear, are getting, quote, normal, whatever normal is. So that sounds like an interesting thing. So HAR, you're running, and when does that decision get made, or how does that process work?
You have to be a realtor in order to vote for me. HAR will send you a link on July 26th. If you would, please vote. One of the main issues why I want to run is 40% of the homes in 2021 in Harris County, just Houston basically, all went to investors. And it's not the mom and pops. There's companies out there buying 40,000 homes at a go-around, creating their own market that nobody can compete in. And nobody's talking about it.
Well, I forget where I saw it, but I think it was just last night. I saw several graphs, and there are certain market areas that investors are buying, that there's 10 areas they're targeting, and they're buying as much as however X amount of homes that were on the market. In some cases, they're buying 28 to 30%.
Correct.
That's a lot of homes.
And they're spending money like drunk sailors. I can't make it make sense to buy the home as an investment property, and I'm a broker.
So that's fascinating. I wonder why do you think the investors are buying so many homes?
Well, if you get outside of our local area, all the TVs say go buy real estate in Texas.
And then Florida.
Yeah. Well, Texas, Florida, and Tennessee are the three major states that they're targeting because there's no state income tax.
No state income tax. And by the way, my second favorite state is Tennessee because it has no state income tax. It has rolling hills and a moderate climate compared to what we have. So I could see where Tennessee would be a very popular spot, and Florida too. So yeah, state income tax. And not only that, one more thing about Tennessee, their property taxes are not as heavy as right here, I'm hearing.
Very low.
So go Tennessee. Meanwhile, welcome to Real Estate Matters Tennessee edition. But in the meantime, so let's tell people, as you look ahead right here in Houston, right here in the Katy area, what do you see as far as the activity for buyers and sellers in the next, couple months?
Katy's a very insulated area. We're one of the last ones to feel any issues and one of the first ones to get out. I think that we have plateaued out. However, I do believe that once we push past the plateau, it will take back off again. And I think that's going to last probably 6 to 9 months is my forecast there.
One of the things I think about Katy, as I live very close to it, I think is tremendous and would be a boost is the Grand Parkway. That's
huge.
Incredible. I'm on that thing all the time.
West Park Tollway as well.
So that has helped, I think, in a great way because now you could, let's say you live on Fry Road or Katy, hey, get up on 99, you're in the Woodlands in short order, you're in New Waverly, you're in a whole lot of places, right?
Yeah, in a matter of no time. Texas Heritage Parkway that just opened up between Fulshear and I-10, that's been another game changer for all the growth that we have going west of Katy.
I will say you have to watch out there on the Grand Parkway because I just got another rock chip that I'm not happy about. There's a ton of rock trucks on there and other people that don't clean their beds on their trucks. So if you're listening, hey, just wipe down the bed, watch the rocks, right, Richard?
Agreed.
So, meantime, let's tell people, what else do you want them to know, Richard, before we close this segment?
Well, if you would, please vote for me if you're a licensed realtor.
You got to be a licensed realtor.
You have to be a licensed
Texas realtor.
Yes, sir. And be a HAR board member. And voting does start July 26th. So if you would,
that leaves me out. But there are others. They can reach out if they have those qualifications. But also, you're in the medium category, but there's also the large company, large brokers, and then even smaller ones, right?
Correct. We're medium-sized. We're a boutique brokerage in Katy. We sponsor 7 agents, and we focus on giving top-shelf service, red carpet treatment to our clients.
And not only that, HAR just does an incredible job that people study what we do or what they do at HAR. HAR.com is the website. They're doing incredible work as far as organization, how they have all these sub-organizations, and how they're helping make the industry better. It's incredible what they do over there.
They're industry leading when it comes to MLSs. We are known nationally as setting the bar on MLSs. So it's quite an honor if I can get in up there on the board of directors, sir.
That would be great. So in the meantime, let's tell people, Richard, if they want to reach out to you, Richard Luebeck, Red Lion. I'm almost hearing a lion growl, but that's my imagination. Red Lion Realty. Richard, let's tell people how they can reach you.
Our phone number is 832-646-2886, and our website is redlionrealtygroup.com. We'd love to work with you.
And the phone number again is?
832-646-2886.
Thank you so much, Richard Luebeck, Redline Realty.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Stay close to your Stewart Title Business Development Officer. I say it almost every show. Here she is from Katy, Texas, our Business Development Officer, Joyce Eisenberg. Joyce, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bill. Thanks for having me.
So here you are. You brought Richard Luebeck here to the show. But also, let's tell people the two offices that you have that you're serving people, serving realtors all the time there for Stewart Title.
I am at Stewart Title Katy and Stewart Title Fulshire.
And let's talk about Fulshire just for a second. It's been we've called it a growing area years ago, but it's a very exciting market. Let's tell people a feel for the activity that's happening out there. What are you seeing?
I'm seeing a lot of new construction, and 359 looks like it's done now, so come on out to Fulshire. Don't be scared.
359 now, I'm not familiar with that road. That's a big road?
359 and 1093, that's where we are, in the heart, deep in the heart of Fulshire.
It's actually, Fulshire. It's the old town, what they call it, old town, or just downtown Fulshire? Because I've been at that. Yeah, I've been at that office. In fact, there's a famous diner, restaurant that's noted for something, and one of the police officers took me to that.
Maybe Pier 36, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
We are right behind the Pier 36.
They have some good spots up there. Also, how about the Katy market? What's going on over there?
Oh, Katy is, what did you say? BC, before COVID, Katy is...
So it's back to that?
Katy is crazy. It's still COVID pricing, any way you slice it.
So let's tell people, as far as in why I say stay close to your Stewart Title Business Development Officer, because you're doing things, as all our representatives are around the city, you're doing things to help the real estate professional as far as events, CE classes, you bring John Bramblett out there and all these things. Let's tell people if you have anything coming up that we should know about, or just check your phone number. They could check with you.
Well, speaking of Fulshire, we just did a Katy Christian Ministries donation drive out in Fulshire, and it was great. Stewart Title did, and we're going to have another one September 17th. So right behind that Pier 36, we'll have the KCM truck taking donations, and it just winds up being a great event, and hopefully it will be cooler in September.
Well, I hope so, but that's one of those months where when September comes, I'm like, it's still hot. Joyce Eisenberg, let's tell people how they can reach you if they want to close the real estate transaction with you out there in the West.
You can always find me at Stewart Title Katy and Fulshire on the Facebook page, and 832-589-4306.
One more time.
832-589-4306.
Thank you, Joyce Eisenberg.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com, or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is, John Bramblett with Stewart Insurance. Hey, John.
Bill, always a pleasure.
Well, here we are again. You just never know what's going to happen on the show. And it's also nice. We love to talk to realtors, but it's nice to help out the community, this big community that we are a part of here, Houston, Texas, right?
Really is. And we're fortunate in Houston to have such fine firefighters. And anytime that we can do to support that organization, it's worthwhile.
No doubt about it. And just think about that. They are on the ready just in case something happens. And not having rain, it makes you think even more about fires as it's been so dry lately. I'm just saying.
It is, and I'm fortunate. I have a couple of friends that are retired Houston firefighters, and some of the stories they've shared with me, just tells me how important that position is and those folks are.
And when you think that it can't happen, I remember going back to the home I lived in prior to the one I do. I was going back for lunch, and the road was blocked off because there was a home on fire, and to see that and all the scary. Anyway,
absolutely.
Which brings us to insurance. So we hope you never have to have your home be a part of a fire and need the insurance for fire. However, John Bramblett is with Stewart Insurance, and he always brings ideas for us.
Well, absolutely, and that would be the reason you would want to be properly insured, is to make sure that you have the right home coverage. So heaven forbid that were to happen, that you would have some sense of ability to at least build back partially, if not fully. So
That's right.
Again, it's, that would be an important reason to visit with one of our advisors about your home plan.
I always wonder when you're going to be on the show. I don't know in advance until the moment you're here. I always wonder what you're going to bring forth.
Well, I'd like to talk education today. I'm working with our Kirby Grove office on a series of classes, and we just had one that you were attended, and we've got another coming up. But so I wanted to share with the listeners today a little bit about the classes that we offer and how we can help our realtor partners and broker partners not only maintain their continuing education credits that they need, but also enable them to be better assets for their clients.
So that's right. You do classes all around the city. So let's tell people, as far as what you have on tap, you've got some classes at Kirby Grove and where else?
Yeah, so the next one is in Kirby Grove. I'm doing the same. I'm doing a class in Laredo for the Stewart Title office in August. But we've got 3 that are certified CE credits in the state of Texas. Real estate liability, reduce your risk, protect your license. Property insurance essentials for real estate professionals, and the 2 sides of water.
People can get their CE credits and also get some tremendous information about those subjects.
Absolutely. So the real estate liability course is a 3-hour course, and it lays out what are the risks that a realtor and a broker can come across in their day-to-day activities. What are the things that could potentially cause a claim? How can you avoid or at least minimize that risk? And then what are some of the insurance plans that are available that can help offset that risk? So that's a 3-hour class, and it really tells you how to, in a sense, protect your license as a realtor and a broker, ways that you can make sure or minimize the chance that there might be a claim. And then if there is, what are some of the insurance products that are available to offset that? The second one, which is a 2-hour class, is Property Insurance Essentials for Real Estate Professionals. And this focuses on how an insurance company looks at the residential real estate transactions. So what does a tenant-owned property coverage look like compared to a home property coverage, compared to a vacant property coverage, compared to a construction, reconstruction, or deconstruction? Each one has its unique principles, and each one has similarities. So we look at each one of those elements. There are 6 different plans that we look at, and what are the coverage elements in each, and why are they important? And then the last one is the 2 sides of water. An insurance company looks at water damage 2 ways. And this is a very broad definition, but if it's rising water external from the home, that's generally a flood plan. And
there's a Hurricane Harvey situation.
Like a Hurricane Harvey situation, exactly. And there are some very specific definition points that an insurance company will look at. If the damage has occurred inside, and there's 4 specific ways that they designate it. And an example would be if you had a leak or if you had a backup. Then potentially your home insurance plan might have all 4 or some of those 4 water damage. So we look at each plan. What are the water damage situations? What does it coverage? What doesn't it cover? And some specifics about the plan that enables you to evaluate and help your clients evaluate, are they properly insured?
That sounds great. And what I saw at the 2 sides of water, just a side note, I enjoyed the content, the delivery, but also I found it interesting to see those that were attending the class, the kinds of questions they asked. So, and I think you were enjoying it too, because you hear all sorts of different questions.
Absolutely, and we're really fortunate that we have such a strong group of real estate professionals in Houston and then across the state that are associated with our Stewart Title offices. So it really is enjoyable. It's a bit like having a guest on your show and their answers are all yes and no. It's not quite as engaging when we have a class where folks are truly engaged, and most of them are. It really is an enjoyment in it, and it makes the teaching that much more fun.
But also, one of the things that happens is that as things change in the laws and things like that, and what's covered, what's not, and premiums and those sorts of things, it's interesting that we need that kind of education, because what was a year ago or 2 years ago may be different now in the world of insurance and what insurance companies are doing, coverages, requirements, and especially when you get into flooding and that's changed in so many ways.
I mean, there was a significant change in flood coverage in the state of Texas, or actually nationwide, began taking place last year and is now in full force this year. So we cover those changes in the two sides of water. And the other is that if you've had one of the classes in the past, it's worth taking it again. So let's look at property essentials for the real estate professional. If you now have a client that's an investor, that's investing in property, there's some different types of counsel that you can provide them than somebody that's buying their home for their primary use. So if your client base is expanding, then having that refresher can be of benefit.
And I'd like to take this opportunity also to say that if you are one of the people that have just moved to Texas, you're from California, Chicago, wherever, and you're saying, well, they don't get much rain here. Well, that's not typical. We are in a drought. However, we normally get a lot of rain, and certainly I always recommend if you're in Houston, Texas, don't let this dryness fool you, because when it starts raining, it's going to start raining really big. I'm getting a feeling, in fact, just a side note. So get flood insurance. I recommend that, and that Stewart Insurance is there for that. Flood
Absolutely.
insurance.
We can help both with the federal coverage as well as some of the private label coverage as well.
So that's right. Since Hurricane Harvey, I'm hearing more. You have the federal coverage. Yes, we knew about that. That's where I had my flood insurance. But also, it seems like around the Hurricane Harvey time, private carriers have emerged. Maybe they're there all along. I don't know.
But there are some options. There are some benefits to both. So it's important to work with an insurance advisor to determine what makes the most sense for you. Do you have one? Do you have both? Do you have an excess coverage? So depending upon what your needs are, one might be better than the other. And again, that's why it's worth spending some time with a solid insurance advisor like the ones that we have at Stewart Insurance.
That's right. Choices to be properly insured. Choices are important to make the right choices. And being properly insured is paramount for all of us, whether we're renting, whether we have land that doesn't have anything on it. Insurance is a key component to our financial stockpile and well-being. John, before we close the segment, what else should people know?
Well, one, that being properly insured doesn't mean that it has to be the highest premium. It doesn't mean that it has to be the most robust plan. It may be, but it also could be a very conservative plan. All it means is that you're comfortable with the coverage you have, that you understand as an individual or as a business how much risk you're taking on versus how much risk you're placing on the insurance company. So if you'd like to have that type of conversation, whether it be for your home or your auto or your real estate brokerage firm, we'd be happy to have that. And you can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. You can learn a bit more about us at stewartinsurance.com, or you can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
And just for good measure, the phone number again is
866-798-2827.
John Bramblett, Stewart Insurance. Thanks, John.
Bill, always a pleasure.
As we wind up the show, here he is, Richard Guderyon with Compass Real Estate. Hey, Richard, welcome back.
Thank you.
So before we leave, let's tell people, what else do you want them to know about your company or anything else?
I would just say best advice I can give someone is if you're thinking about buying or selling, get an expert's advice. There's a lot of nuances that go into buying and selling a house, and you want somebody to guide you down the road. If you are looking to do either one of those, give me a shout. I'll get you connected with an agent that's an expert in the area.
And again, your office is right there at, again, one of the many centers of the Houston universe.
We are in the Country Village area, so we're right there off of Beltway 8 and Memorial is my office, the Memorial office, and I can be reached at 281-217-0766.
Again?
281-217-0766.
Richard Guderyon with Compass. And we say hello to our good friend Sherry Fama, Sita Youngblood. I haven't seen them for a while. They're super awesome, aren't they?
They are really awesome. Actually, Sherry and I came on with Compass at almost the same time.
Is that right?
About a year and a half ago, yeah.
How about
that? And Sita, she's a blessing. She's the managing director of Houston for us. So she supports all the managers across the city, and the lady's just brilliant.
She certainly is. Just a side note, I was going to meet a friend for dinner over there, our good friend Jonathan Levine at Jonathan's The Rub, right there on Memorial, not far from your office. As I was entering, Sita was coming out of the restaurant, and you all were just finishing one of your Compass meetings. How about that? Almost like I knew she was going to be there, but I didn't.
It was meant to be.
You never know. That's a great happening area, no doubt about it. Again, your phone number is?
281-217-0766.
Thank you so much, Richard Guderyon.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
And here she is once again with the Houston Professional Firefighters Association, Elizabeth Stein. That's Elizabeth R. Stein, for real awesome. Hey, Elizabeth, so before we close things down, what else should we know?
Well, we just hope to convince everyone to be supporters of the Houston firefighters, speak highly of them, appreciate their work, and if you're so inclined and it fits in your life to donate, to go to houstonsbravest.org. We promise to be good stewards of your donation and continue to do good work putting new equipment on the street that they help us with.
And give us a quick word, Elizabeth. How did you get involved with this organization, of all things? Because you could be doing so many things to help in your profession, but how did that happen?
It was during Harvey, and I've been doing fundraising for 20-plus years, but I just happened to be in attendance one of their board meetings at one night, literally in the middle of the rescues, and they asked me, looked around the room and said, would you consider doing something for the firefighters? And we created this event, and we're celebrating our 5th year.
Well, now that you say that, I remember my home flooded in Hurricane Harvey, and there was a Houston firefighter. I don't know who he was, but when I had the decision, do I stay in my home as water was rising rapidly, or do I leave? It was a Houston firefighter that stood alongside me as I held my little dog, 15 pounds of Elvis, and this firefighter held Callie and walked us to the top of the hill. Thank God for the firefighters.
Thank you.
And policemen.
Their service is incredible, as well as HPD.
And by the way, Callie and Elvis are still around. So,
and let me tell you, they come out for that as well. Don't let your kitty fall down a drain, or because they will be there trying to help you out. Yeah.
HoustonsBravest.org. You can help.
That's right.
And he's back with Red Line Realty, Richard Luebeck. Richard, as we close the show, another edition of Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. A quick word. What else do you want people to know about Red Line Realty or anything else?
If you're in the Katy, Fulshear, Richmond area, we would love to help you. We're local peers in our community. We do fundraisers for Alzheimer's, blood drive. We also do CAPS Animal Shelter and Boys and Girls Country Orphanage. So we really like to give back to our local community as well, sir.
By the way, CAPS, I pass them all the time. I almost adopted a dog from CAPS. I haven't been there for many years. How are they doing over there? Have you been over there?
We do an annual drive. They need cleaning supplies, food. So if you can, please bring and help the CAPS. But yes, they are wonderful stewards to the community, but they are in need of stuff as well, sir.
We ought to have someone from their organization on the show, I hope sometime soon, but they're doing tremendous work there. A lot of animals. Everybody needs help here. But in the meantime, animals are something special. Do you have a dog, Richard?
I do. We have 3 Shih Tzus.
3?
Yes. They run the house. I just live there.
2 weren't enough? No. What are their names?
Toto, Zoe, and Scooby.
Probably listening to the show, right?
Yes, they will be.
Tails wagging, dogs all over the city and the internet world when they hear this show. Dogs love this show. And thank you all for listening. Richard, let's tell people, first of all, your phone number if they want to reach out to you.
832-646-2886. 832-646-2886.
And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am Bill Knapik, your host, together with John Bramblett, Tom Carpentier, Justin Ramirez, doing tremendous work for Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance. We appreciate you all listening. You heard on the show ways to help the firefighters. Just reach out to houstonsbravest.org. We've had real estate professionals on the show doing tremendous work. Reach out to them. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, and we will see you next week. Don't forget to go to stewart.com/radio. That's stewart.com/radio. You can see and hear the show in Technicolor. We'll see you next week.